Hey guys, Jonny May here, and welcome to this week's Quick Tip. And for this week's Quick Tip, we're bringing you one of our amazing teachers here at Piano with Jonny. He's also my co-founder, and his name is Yannick Lambrecht. He's an amazing jazz educator and vocalist, and he has a ton of cool stuff to teach you. So show him some love in the comments, and Yannick, take it away.
I'm Yannick, and today I'm going to teach you a simple and tasty way to play Autumn Leaves in a jazz trio setting. We're going to talk about the melody and the harmony because our bass part is covered, and I'm going to show you two ways of playing it. One for the more beginner to intermediate players and one for the advanced players. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. Alright, so we're going to get started here with the melody, and I'm sure you know this melody, but let's make sure that we're in the same key and that we're on the same page here. And we are playing this in the key of E minor. The other commonly used key for Autumn Leaves is G minor, but we're going to play it in E minor today. Okay, so those are our notes, and we actually start this melody on E, which is the tonic, the first note of the key. And we can play this single-handed or with two hands. Let's start with the right hand. E, F sharp, G, C, D, E, F sharp, B, B, C, D, E, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, G. Jonny mentioned that I like to sing, and that is true. I love to sing jazz, and I love the piano as well. So the falling leaves drift by my window, the autumn leaves have fallen. So it's a beautiful melody here, and of course also take note of the structure of this melody. It's a sequence that repeats, right? We have this ascending part by step, which jumps a fourth, then go down to the note D, walk it up in steps and jump a fourth, go down, walk it up in steps and jump a fourth, and that pattern repeats for the entire melody, which is probably the reason why it's such a catchy song that everybody knows and loves. Okay, let's try it in the left hand as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And for our purposes today, we're just going to focus on the A section. So that's the melody for the A section. Now, when I was playing it in the beginning, I actually separated my hands by an extra octave to give it a little bit more space and a little bit more dimension. And we're also playing this in kind of a swing style, right? We're not playing it as a ballad today. And so you did hear me earlier demonstrating it with some swung rhythms and with some syncopations. So you could go like this, for example. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. If you notice with the way that I'm counting it, I'm accenting some of those in-between beats, the syncopated notes, to give it more of an uplifting and an upbeat character. So that's the melody. Make sure that you're really comfortable with that. Next, we're going to talk about the chord voicings for beginner to intermediate players. So let me show you what this is going to sound like when we add the harmony to the melody. Doesn't that sound great? It's sophisticated, but at the same time, it's very simple. We're only using 4 notes here. Very tasty. So I'm going to walk you through these voicings next. And I wrote down here we're using 4-note rootless A and B voicings and some Quartal voicings. So next I'm going to explain exactly what that means. And by the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. In jazz, it's very common when you're comping, when you're creating accompaniments, to use these A and B voicings. And what it means is that an A voicing has the 3rd of the chord on the bottom, and a B voicing has the 7th on the bottom. So let's look at the notes here. We have G, C, E, and A. This is a beautiful spelling of an A minor 7 chord. Okay, this is not rootless because we have the A in it, but you'll understand in a moment why we're using this voicing. This one has the 7th on the bottom, so we call that a B voicing. Okay? Doesn't have anything to do with the note name, it just differentiates chords that either have the 3rd on the bottom or the 7th on the bottom. Okay? So we have the 7th of the chord, the 3rd, the 5th, and the root. Then for our D7, check out how we're going to play this. All we have to do is move one note, F sharp, C, E, and A. Okay, this is a rootless voicing because I'm not playing a D, right? The bass is going to play that D, and that's going to sound like that. We've got the 3rd, the 7th, the 9th, and the 5th. Okay, notice that beautiful transition. This is called smooth voice leading. And can you guess what this one is? This one is an A voicing because we have the 3rd of the chord as the lowest note. Okay, so we're going to have the bass playing the A. Then we switch to this chord for our D7. Next for the G7, we're using a quartal voicing. Quartal simply means that we are stacking some fourths on top of each other, and this is a very jazzy sound. Okay, so the notes here are E, A, D, and G. Okay, this is a common voicing for a G major chord. Even though we're not playing the major 7, we are using the 6 instead. A nice way to explore these is to play a pentatonic scale and then try to see all of the voicings that you can come up with when you play that. And you'll come up with some voicings like the one that we're using here, which is known as a quartal voicing. All right, then after that, we're going to use a passing chord, okay? And that one looks like this: F, B, or you could call it C flat, E flat, and A flat. And this chord is going to resolve to a C major chord, which, again, the notes we're using are E, A, D, and G. Same as before. Isn't that great? Okay, so these measures, 3 and 4, are very simple. All we have to do is go from this position to the D flat 7 position and then back. Okay, very cool. Now that passing chord, this is a very common technique in jazz, where you take the dominant chord that's a half step above your chord that you're landing on. Okay, it just creates a little bit more color, a little more harmony to push us into that next chord. Jazz is all about the harmony, all about the colors. Next we have an E, A, C, and F sharp. This is for our F sharp half diminished chord. This one is not rootless because the root is on top. But then the one after that, for our B chord, okay, we have, oh, doesn't that sound great? We got the 3, the 7, the flat 9, and the flat 13 here. Okay, this is our dominant voicing for the B7, and we call that an A voicing because the 3rd is on the bottom. And then finally, we're going to land on this version of our E chord. That's C sharp, G, B, and E. Okay? All right, fantastic. Let's go ahead and review this. A minor 7 B voicing, D7 A voicing, our G major 7, D flat passing chord to the C major quartal chord, our B voicing on the F sharp half diminished, A voicing on the B7, and E minor 6. Look at what a beautiful color we can create with just 4 notes. All right, great job up to this part. Now we're going to put it together with that melody. Now what we need to do when we put the hands together is figure out how to put the harmony between the melody. So initially we learned it holding that top note, right? What we're going to do is we're going to articulate the chord transitions between the held notes. It's going to sound like this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. See what we're doing there? We're using a little Charleston rhythm where on beats 3 and 4, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We're actually anticipating the change to the next chord on the and of beat 4, which is very common to do. So let's do this again slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now switch to the chord. 3 and 4 and 1. Now we're going to go to our D chord. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Notice also that I'm using smart fingering. In fact, I can finger this in such a way that my hands move, I'm just alternating fingers. You always want to be smart about fingering, think of the economy of motion. And then going down further in the second line, on the C chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, that's the chord pop right there. And on the B7, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, that's what we're doing there. A little bit different. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. A little bit different from what I showed you earlier. There's different ways to do it. You could go. Okay, and here I played the G instead. That's it. We learned the melody, we learned the chords, and now we just have to fit it here in between the melody with this nice little rhythm. If you followed along with me so far, you can go ahead and review this a few times. What we're going to do next is we're going to play it with a backing track, and this is going to sound really nice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play it right now with the backing track, and we're going to get a 2-measure count in. So it's going to count to 4, and then we're going to come in on beat 2 of the second count in. So here we go. This is going to be nice and slow. 3, 4, 1. All right. Isn't that fantastic? Sounding very musical. We're getting everything that we need in there, the melody and the chord transitions, and with the backing track, it sounds complete. It sounds very satisfying musically. So if you are at that late beginner to early intermediate level and you can play this, you're going to sound great in a trio setting. Next, we're going to go ahead and add a few things for the intermediate to advanced players. All right, so for the advanced level, we're going to add a couple of notes to the voicing. The overall structure is going to be actually very similar to what we just learned. But now we're going to, instead of playing 4 notes, we're going to thicken it up to a 6-note texture. Doesn't that sound great? These are very commonly used in big band playing because the piano has to cut through, right? Also jazz trio playing. So let's look at this. This is still a B voicing, right? Because the 7th is the lowest note that I'm playing. I've got G, C, E, A, right? The 7th, the 3rd, the 5th. 1, the 5 and the 1, so a couple of doubled notes here. And look at that transition. When we go to our D chord, all we have to do is move that 1 note, right? G goes to F sharp. It sounds fantastic. We've got the 3rd, the 7th, the 9th, the 5th, the 9th, again those double notes. Now for our G, we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to add a couple notes to that quartal voicing, the E, A, D, A, D, G. So again, a couple double notes. It sounds really beautiful though. We got the 6, the 9, 5, 9, 5, and the 1 on top. And for that D flat chord, okay, oh, isn't that great? We got the 3 and 7, the 9. And then we got the 13, again the 9 and the 5. Fantastic voicing right there. And then back to where we came from, except now the chord that worked on G, right? The B voicing on the G turns into the A voicing on the C chord because the 3rd is on the bottom. You see that? E, A, D, A, D, G. More double notes. Sounds great. Now for our half diminished, here's what we're doing. This is a B voicing with E, A, C, A, C, F sharp. Okay, so some doubling going on there. And I love this next one. This is what we call an altered voicing because check it out. We got the 3, the 7, we got the sharp 9, and the flat 13. Okay, doubling the 13, and we got the 1 there as well. Excellent voicing, beautiful spread of notes. And then to finish it off, we're going to go to our E minor 6 voicing. We got the 6 on the bottom, 3, 5, right? 3, 5, 1. There you have it, folks. We just played the advanced level voicings. The only difference between this is that now we're doubling the texture, we are adding in some additional notes to get a nice full sound. So go ahead and review that a couple of times, and then we're going to play it with the melody. So for this final step here, let's do what we did before, where we play the melody and then add those chord pops in between to define the harmony. So it'll sound like this. We're going to spread out the hands to play the melody an extra octave apart, and then jump to your chord. All right, same rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. You see how we did that? Now, I also demonstrated earlier how you can add a little bit more syncopation. So 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 1. So you don't have to play the melodic notes exactly on the beat. You can add a little bit more syncopation. Then on the last line here, 2 octaves apart. 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And that's the approach that we're taking here. Okay, go ahead and practice that a few times, and then once you're ready for it, I'm going to pull up the backing track so that we can play along. We're going to do 120 BPM right now. We'll get the 2-measure count in, and let's give it a try. And 1. I'm adding a little variation, and sometimes I even put in an extra melodic note. Okay, that's another technique that you can do. Adding a little melody in between the harmony to make it even more interesting. Could even just be repeating the note. So that's how I would approach this. If you are a member of Piano with Jonny, you can download the sheet music and the backing tracks. Get this for your own practice and your own time. And we also have additional courses that go into these voicings and that talk about autumn leaves. In fact, we have a master course on autumn leaves, over 10 hours of content, I kid you not, that really goes into the ins and outs of this tune, the A section, the B section, voicings, bass lines, soloing approaches. Jonny really goes in depth with this course. So I had a blast teaching you this today. I want you to call up a friend that plays bass and drums and try this out with them. Okay, it takes some practice, but pretty soon you're going to get confident with the skill and be able to do it on lots of different tunes.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels, where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.